was working on the Uinta and Wasatch Cache National Forest as a forest fuel specialist. And I'd only been on the job for about 4 months. And I was asked to be ignition specialist for a prescribed burn. And I wasn't asked until the day before. I mean, I knew they were going to do this burn. You know, I'd been briefed, but I hadn't been involved in any of the planning. You know, the burn plan had been done. They'd already pretty much planned it out, had what they needed, and it wasn't until the day before the burn where they asked me to be the ignition specialist because they didn't have anybody else. And so I said yes, and so that was the Cascade 2 burn. And not long, probably a couple hours after ignition, we had a pretty bad escape, and a couple hours after that declared a wildfire. And what started out as a 600-acre burn became an 8,000-acre wildfire with a Type 2 team. And we smoked in Salt Lake City for several days, badly. I mean, streetlights coming on and recess being canceled and people putting their kids on planes with asthma to get out of the smoke. And you've got this process to go through, and it's I think the danger with that is, yeah, those elements maybe help you think of something you hadn't thought of, but also those elements kind of, you know, it can be called a cookbook type thing. And so I think some of the thought process and experience has been taken out of that. It makes it so you don't have to put that in there. You know, you can run a behave model and plug in the numbers. And so I would tell somebody writing a burn plan that that's only part of it, that there's still places in there for your own experience or for why you're deviating. You know, that you can still deviate from these models, or you can deviate from, you know, the last burn plan prescription, but to make sure that for the reasons you're deviating need to be put down there. There needs to be a rationale for that decision making, and that needs to be a part of the burn plan, which I don't think that's really built in. I think that's being taken away, actually. I think it's easier not to do that now with these templates. Yeah. Really? Mm-hmm. And I tried to do that because we got a template. You know, that was one of the things that came out of our escape, is our region got a template. And so I tried to do that with this template. And I remember looking at, you know, the fuel models and thinking, well, gosh, Behave is saying this, but I know there's no way based on the burn we just did last year in a similar area. You know, and I talked to other people. What do you think? I'm kind of thinking about this, and, you know, and that's also involve more people in it. You know, involve more people in your process and help you, you know, bounce your ideas off those folks, and you know, two heads are better than one type thing. Contingency resources are your kind of your backup resources. So you've got your people who are on the burn, implementing the burn. Your contingency resources are, you know, engines on a neighboring district, or a crew, you know, local crew nearby that you can call on to help you if you need them. You know, not necessarily an escape, but if, you know, if things just don't go as you expect them to go, you can draw on these resources to come help you with your burn. So, you know, we're supposed to build in how many contingency resources we think we need. And to me, that is just really, really difficult, because how worst case do you plan? How bad do you plan for it to go? Because if you plan for it to go the absolute worst, are there enough resources to even have? I mean, is it possible? And so it's kind of a fine line, and you can run Behave and run, you know, line production rates, and, you know, do all that, and I just struggle with it. I have a really hard time with that. Mm-hmm. I just struggle with that.
So how do you do it?
Well, I do it, you know, I run those line production, you know, and estimate, okay, how far away are the resources? Okay, they're going to take them this long to get here, and, you know, who would I call first? Who's most likely to get here, you know? And so you do that, but, you know, and then you got to pick, well, at how far outside your prescription, or, you know, what is your wind parameter you're gonna go off all this stuff on, you know, because we got dinged on Cascade 2 because we didn't plan for going way out of prescription, And I'm still hearing now that you plan at your highest, at your hot end of the prescription. Well, I started planning outside the prescription. You know, 20, 30 mile an hour winds is what I started planning at. I don't really honestly think it has a lot of use. I think, you know, with modeling and, you know, because you know who you're going to call. You know that you're probably not going to get everything you need. And every burn I was on the Uinta, we had a lot of our contingency resources on site. You know, for example, Cascade 2, we had more people, we had too many people on that burn. That's the West. You know, and that was also a forest that hardly ever burns, so everybody wants to come play. We had so many people on site. We had more than our burn plan called for contingency resources, and we still couldn't catch it. You know, and so I guess that's maybe where I'm coming from. You know, if things really go bad, things go to shit, are you really going to be able to catch it with your contingency resources? Yeah. I can remember calling, you know, Colt Mortensen and saying, hey, I'm struggling with this fuel model. You know, Colt, I'm having a hard time. You know, gosh, I'd have to have 5 Type 1 hotshot crews here to catch a spot fire, so I'm really struggling with this. What did you do for, you know, blank? Because I knew he was working on a burn plan in a similar fuel model. And so he's like, well, this is what I did, you know, and try this, and this is my rationale, and what do you think about that? And so, you know, that was really valuable, and just having that other perspective and somebody to kind of just talk it through. You know, and so it's easy to get caught up in the isolation because you're trying to get it done. And asking for help or waiting for somebody to have the time to review it for you takes longer, takes extra days, you know, out of your process when you know, you're trying to get that thing done so you can go burn. I didn't know these people. I had no idea even who my lighting crew was going to be. I was kind of just told, this is your lighting crew. And I ended up with a group of very, very, very inexperienced people lighting, which was a high complexity prescribed burn is not the place for that. There are other places to get people that experienced. That's not it. So I didn't know my people. I didn't know their skills. I didn't know their strengths and weaknesses. There were discussions on where we were going to begin the prescribed burn, what location of the burn we were going to actually start igniting. And I myself and another person were in disagreement with the burn boss and the AFMO on where we should light the burn. And the burn boss said, well, I'm the burn boss, I make the final decision, and we're going to light it over here. And I let it go. And the hindsight thing, the danger of hindsight and all that. But oftentimes I think if we had lit it where I had wanted to light it, would we have lost that burn? You know, I don't know. We might have, but I didn't make my point as strong, my case as strong, and I think it's because I wasn't as familiar with this burn unit. You know, I'd only been out there one time, and all these other people had been out there, you know, and so I kind of just went along. Well, they must know better than I do, and so I didn't speak up. It's really hard to balance that, but I think it comes down to that communication thing and talking it through with other people and putting all your heads together and, you know, making that decision collectively with all your experience and all your expertise and whatever different thing each person brings to that.